Hi, this is Adnan Hamid Sadek, and I am going to be showing you how my game works. So currently, this game is very inspired by Rick and Morty. I made the one of the features I had was a drunken feature, which occurs by Rick just being drunk, which kind of shows how that how this entire adventure through all the other players starts place is kind of more that the individual was drunk and he thought it would be kind of fun to look for some ancient artifacts. So now I'm just going to show you how to get through this level. There are more than 8 keys in total. However, to accomplish this level, you only need 8 keys in total. So you can interact with the environment to the best of your abilities to find all 8 keys. Currently, I have shown you 4, but we can get all 8. I will show you how to get all of them. So 5, I believe. 6. This is a hidden area I put just because I thought it would be a bit more cool to just have the character use a bit more of their abilities as opposed to simply exploring. This was more of optional things. This wasn't really something I mentioned we do in our project proposal. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to have a bit more variety to the game than just simply walking around and exploring. So yeah, um, key behind here, a key located here, and as you can see, there are moments where they are attempting to grow, and they cannot. I thought it would be kind of cool to have a sort of system where you could feel like Rick, the main character, is kind of getting stuck in these places, so he has to shrink again before he can access it again. So I've accessed all the keys, but you can still see it's just not enough keys. This is very intentionally done. The idea is that I want the user to continuously check if they have enough keys or to just regularly search around. I do not want the users to very quickly get that done. So once you get enough keys and you come to the door and you interact with it, you can see it opens. So let's go and see the next level. This next level is pretty simple. You have turrets coming after you, and you just need to keep dodging them. Uh, Keep in mind this is a fairly hard level. I have only finished it once or twice. Let's see if I can do it again. And that wasn't what I wanted to do. Very futuristic sci-fi. Very inspired by Rick and Morty Garage. Because if you've seen the later seasons, you can see that Rick has a pretty incredible garage. Wow, I am so bad at this. We'll try it one more time just to show the platforming a bit. But okay, that's platform one. The turrets after you jump into one of these platforms doesn't get super accurate. It can still overwhelm you if you're not paying attention. However, it doesn't get super accurate. You can see that the bullets were kind of custom made. I thought it'd be kind of cool to have laser beams kind of bounce around the wall. If they hit you, you can see that you slowly fade to dark and it becomes a sort of retry mechanic. So overall, here's how everything works. This is my BP keys. It just keeps track of everything. It just checks the number of keys and adds it. There's a door counter that shows how everything works. For testing purposes, I've had it at 1. However, it should be at 8, which just means that after you get 8 keys, you are good to go. And here you can see that there's this refresh key widget, which occurs every time you go through the component overlap. So shouldn't be too difficult. I have some other meshes that were all made. Blueprints, first person class. Ensure the drunkenness doesn't affect other levels because I've set my drunkenness to affect immediately. This is just to ensure that that exposure doesn't happen to my teammates' levels. Here's how I hold object. I have a boolean function and I work with a lot of components. Essentially, I just have this just ensures that I can actually first grab the component in respect to its dimensions, and then after that, that it doesn't rotate too much because I found that to be quite annoying. And here it happens at every tick, so you're grabbing it at every tick, which I thought took way too long. This is my drunkenness movement. My hangover level is set at 0, which is fine because I remember I put it mandatory. Yeah, my hangover level is set at 0.8 here, which just continuously makes it so that there's a tracker that actually looks at the post process, and it shows at like what percentage of post process should happen. You have a sobering rate, which I thought it'd be kind of cool that the users can see themselves getting sober in real time if they just leave the game for a bit, and that also you can also see how the hangover level works with the jittery feature, which is just that yeah, I'm working with the right vector and the forward vector just to and a random float, which just pretty much just checks if my random float that I get is less than my hangover level. If it's less, if the hangover level is less than the float range, it doesn't jitter as much. But if it's greater than the float range, sorry, if my hangover level is greater than the number I've chosen, then we go through some jittery motion. However, if it's less than the random float, then we don't go through any jittery motion. So you can see there's a very intentional thing. This is my drunk movement feature. Took a lot of time to try to make it more natural. Did not work, unfortunately. You can see with the sign values, I thought it would be a lot cooler. And there's a wobbly camera feature that was supposed to work in reference to your hangover level. Issue is that it cannot look up and down. Could not figure that out. This is my press G for the flashlight. Nothing too complicated there. Use a flip flop so that there's no real Boolean check. And the shrinking ability just has a line trace to make sure that you can only start moving once you fully meet the dimensions. Turrets are also not that complicated. This BP coffee just checks how well your oh, sorry. The BP coffee just takes about 30% away of your drunkenness, and BP water always takes about 10% away from your drunkenness. BP keys allow you to go through the door counter, of course, and the ancient mask is needed to actually get to the my friends levels. Almost everything was custom made. All the fab assets had to be changed drastically to make it work with the physics. A lot of things were taken from Blender. Overall, was a lot of work. I'll show you quickly how the next level works, just for clarity. My levels, turrets. So play, player start. Okay, that's not really what I meant, but that's fine. Okay. Play from here. Cool. Yeah. So when you play from here, you can see that there is the need for Vampire Mask. It's a very JoJo reference, and you cannot enter this portal until you get the Vampire Mask, which is this shiny mask that I got here. Very intentional. And then once you enter, you should go to my friends level. However, since this is my individual component, that clearly does not happen. And that is my entire game. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry for the sort of unprofessionalism, but I just wanted to make it pretty easy for whoever's marking my work to understand what's going on. Thank you very much. Take care.